Fitin10 Nation, welcome to day 50. And as mentioned in the previous video, Martina, I taught in terms of the amount of time that's left, we are day 50, which means after today, we're into the teens in terms of days left. And then before you know it, it's going to be into the single digits. But I want to remind you that there's still 3 weeks left and a lot can happen in 3 weeks. After all, we do the check-ins every 2 weeks. And with each check-in, there is a marketable difference that we expect to see, or at least somewhat of a measurable difference from check-in to check-in. So a lot can happen in 3 weeks. So keep putting one foot in front of the other, right? Keep working towards that progression. Yeah. All right, Martina, you ready for some questions?
Indeed.
Okay, let's do it. This person writes, and this is related to last day. In fact, I need to stop taking nibbles and bites of food I'm making or snacks in the house. Okay, so this person is snacking. You've got to stop snacking. Okay, you've got to become more conscientious and aware of what you're doing and tell yourself not to do this. If you're snacking, you're just simply taking in food, and I'm assuming you have no idea of the quantity. I mean, maybe you can estimate the quantity, but you don't really know. And this is really setting yourself up for disaster. But on top of that, I don't know why people, what is this snacking all about? What is snacking?
Boredom.
You think it's boredom?
Yep. It's really
Comfort?
a lack of presence, and just, it's just not, it's not healthy either for your health nor for your mental health. You know what I mean? It's like you're unpresent, because if you were, you would be doing it.
Yeah, we've got to we need to set up some hard boundaries here and think meals. And again, for what I recommend to you guys, 3 to 5 meals per day. Set those up in advance and just
eat them.
Okay? Abide by those boundaries. Don't just kind of let things just sort of melt into each other and you're just like, oh, well, this won't make a difference and maybe this won't make a difference. Everything makes a difference. So we need those hard rules.
We don't eat between meals.
We don't eat between meals. You can drink water between your meals.
Excellent.
That's it. Okay?
What's next?
All right. This person writes, I am struggling with sleep. In order to get things done in the day, I am finding I am not winding down until 10 or 10:30 at night. Often not asleep until 11:30. Then I am up again at 5:30. I wonder if you might describe to us how bad sleep affects our health. Well, Martina, one thing I want to say on this right away is that if you don't get enough sleep, you are going to have increased hunger cues. It is shown that ghrelin is a hunger hormone that's produced in your stomach. Ghrelin will be circulating your bloodstream essentially at a higher amount than what otherwise would be if you got a longer duration of sleep. Yeah. We know that through short sleep cycles comes increased hunger.
Mm-hmm. Decreased motivation, and you have a longer window to eat. Mm-hmm. So, if you're somebody who, again, is snacking, or, you look towards food as many people do, as a reward or a break or just something to give you some kind of, I don't know, dopamine perhaps. Mm-hmm. Then not sleeping is the worst.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, this is only going to make you hungrier. And, to boot, there's, if you haven't read the book, Why Sleep Matters, I think, is that called Why Sleep Matters? Yeah.
Something like that.
By Dr. Matthew Walker. Great book, by the way. It talks all about sleep. But one of the biggest contributors to neurological diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's
is lack of sleep.
That's right. So, essentially, sleep is like a refiling system for our brain. Like, all this stuff happens in our day, and when we go to sleep, during the process of sleeping, it's as though things are getting organized in our brain. If we don't get that sleep, we don't get that organization, and for maybe lack of better
understanding, our brain becomes a mess. Okay, or at least that's the analogy.
So you need to find a way.
Yes, you need to find a way. So to this person, I would suggest a couple things here. I would try to put things down on paper in terms of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. I would also slot in some time to wind down. You should be winding down. If you're going to bed at 10:30, you should be winding down by, I would say, latest 8:30. Okay, you should be reading a book, relaxing, and not doing anything else. That's what you should be doing. That will allow you to, by the time 10:30 rolls around, you're going to be relaxed and you're going to be able to sleep. Because at 10:30, if you're getting up at 5:30 and you go to bed, you fall asleep at 10:30, that's 7 hours of sleep right there. And that's kind of the bare minimum you want.
Indeed.
All right, moving right along here. Another question. Low impact options for cardio. I tried running and jumping rope, but I don't think my joints or back are quite up for that level of impact. Similarly, my head gets a little fuzzy when I'm moving up and down too quickly, as in doing burpees. So I would prefer to not do those. What else do you recommend as cardio option that won't strain my joints too much?
Weight-bearing cardio movements, right? Oh, I guess this person, for example, doesn't have a bicycle?
Non-weight-bearing movements, you mean?
Oh, yes, that's what I meant. Yeah. Doesn't have a bicycle, maybe? Like bicycle, elliptical trainer. You need to keep a certain level of impact. So walking up a hill is a really good one, either on a treadmill or outdoors.
You mean a certain level of resistance?
Yes, that's what I meant.
You don't want to go. Yes.
So?
Yeah, I fully agree with you on this. You need to stay away from stuff that, we need to put in things that are going to be able to raise the intensity. So uphill movements are going to be very, very helpful. Whether this is, fast-paced walking up a reasonably inclined hill, yeah, that will get your heart rate up really high. You probably don't even need to jog. If you do choose to jog, you may want to consider something like a bark mulch trail, or maybe a track, or perhaps even grass. But I would try to get something like a stationary bike, and this might be really worthwhile investing in, because this is something that you can use for the rest of your life. We have 2 bikes. I've got 2 bikes downstairs.
Yeah.
And I use one on a regular basis. If you get a half-decent spin bike, it's going to last you decades.
All right. And then, for example, on Wednesday when I teach the cardio class, because you're probably referring to the class, I usually give, for every single movement that I give a low-impact version. So there's definitely workouts out there that you can do that do not involve jumping, right? When you're supposed to do a jack, we have this low-impact version that's called a half jack. So there's like lots and lots of things that you can do. As for the burpees and everything, we will talk about it maybe in a different video, but there's something that you need to work on to improve your ability to go up and down, because that's not quite normal. But in terms of impact, yes, the bicycle is great. Swimming is a great form of low impact exercise. There's lots of things that you can do. You could even get beside our house, we have a community center. I used to go to community centers, $30 membership per month, where I'd just go there to do my cardio at 5 a.m. 4 times a week, and I think it was really well worth the investment.
Yeah, I mean, if it were me to this person right off the bat, just given the fact that now we're heading into wintertime, I would probably just invest in a stationary bike.
Yeah.
That's really what I would do.
I agree.
This is obviously, fitness is something that you're going to keep doing, right?
You should.
You should. And part of that's going to be cardiovascular work.
Absolutely.
And if you're not able to do, or if you're very, very sensitive to any sort of impact, stationary bike's going to be the best way to go. Spin bike would be the way I would go, actually, specifically spin bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's get the message of the day. All right, Martina.
Progression, not perfection.
Progression, not perfection. That's right. Perfection is great. Perfection is something we want to shoot towards. But if you are far away from from perfection,
yeah,
then we need to, which, listen, most people are at least, there's a couple things at least they need to work on. We need to start picking one of those things, and I would pick the easiest one, and begin working on that until that is
perfected or near perfected,
Mm-hmm.
then we work on the next thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way we need to look at this. This challenge is 70 days. People think it's long. It's really not long. It's kind of just a start. I've often been challenged on this that my challenges are too long.
Yeah.
But I will say that in the grand scheme of things, it's actually a very, very short period of time. And for what
Is asked.
Yeah, for what we asked, it is a big deal. It definitely is a big deal. I understand that. What you need to do is look for ways to progress. Set little mini tasks or objectives, or however you want to term it, goals, every week that are going to improve your output in this program.
Absolutely.
Week to week to week to week, or every 2 weeks, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
A little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, a little bit
Yep.
less of this, a little bit less of that.
Just like anything that you're working towards, ideally there's a methodology to it.
Absolutely.
There's a structure, there's a pathway to how we're going to do this.
Something quantifiable.
Yes. So look for those things that you can make better, and then, like I said, start off with the easiest ones, and then, get that one thing down, and then we'll move on to the next one. Anything else you want to add to that? No? All right. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and we will talk to you very soon.